On September 3rd, China held a major military parade in Beijing, the national capital. This parade was on the occasion of the 80th anniversary of China's victory in the Second World War, specifically the war against Imperial Japan. But more than history, this was also a demonstration of China's military modernization, and in a way was fundamentally about the country's future aspirations. I spent a lot of time looking at nuclear weapons capabilities here at Carnegie, so I was paying quite a bit of attention to some of the systems that we saw at the parade. Let me just talk about a few of them. First, we saw a really big missile. A really big missile called the DF-61. You don't need to remember that number, but essentially what this missile does is it's meant to carry multiple nuclear warheads and probably some countermeasures to make Donald Trump's Golden Dome plans a little bit more difficult to hold the United States and really any other countries that might threaten China under risk. Now, this is pretty grim business, but that's how nuclear deterrence works. You have to have the ability to threaten the other side to hope that a war will never begin. And for China, this is a key national defense priority. Beyond the DF-61, we also saw another system, the DF-31BJ. Again, long string of numbers, you don't have to remember it. But this was also a pretty big missile. It can also range the United States. But the reason this one was really interesting to me is that I have a good hunch that this is the first time that we've seen a missile in China that is meant to go inside some of the new silos that China is building in its western desert. These were silos that were discovered in 2021. The Chinese government still hasn't acknowledged them. We don't know why they're being built because China hasn't told us explicitly. But this parade indicator might tell us that perhaps China's getting a little bit closer to coming clean about what's going on in the country's west. Another capability that really caught my eye was a missile known as the JL-1. This was a system that I actually reported on before I was here at Carnegie. I was the first person to write an article about this system, so it was really gratifying to actually see it in a military parade. This is an air-launched ballistic missile. This is a capability that the United States doesn't have currently, but it is something that China's been testing for a while. This is a big missile that goes beneath the wing of a heavy bomber that's designed to offer China certain advantages that it can't get with its ground-launched missiles. And importantly for China at this parade, this was the first time that the country showed off land, sea, and air-based nuclear capabilities, giving it for the first time a nuclear triad. So those are some of the big nuclear capabilities that caught my eye at this military parade. There was a lot more on display. But the big thing to remember today is that as U.S.-China relations become more difficult, the nuclear dimension of competition between the two countries will grow more important. And we all hope that a war between the two countries will never take place, but if it ever does, there will be a very strong nuclear dimension to any crisis or conflict between the United States and China.